pragmatic.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'm looking forward to connecting with Dr. Mary Batchelor again, and she has got a lot to say. And she's a force to be reckoned with, and I'm delighted that she's here again and to connect with her. This is the Cosmic Ascension Waves of Light, or the Call, with myself, Soma ARah, and this evening, Dr. Mary Batchelor. So you've got the floor, Mary.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and let's see how we get on for our next attempt. Clearly our conversation just prior to getting back on here now blew the circuits.
Yes.
And I'm not surprised. We're a powerful force.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I was saying that I've been through a lot in the last few years, an extraordinary amount of personal tragedy around me, affecting, not only me, but my children. And I've had to learn to navigate not only all of that and all of the COVID stuff that was going on, particularly in Melbourne, one of the most locked down, controlled cities throughout all of this experience. And I've really learned a lot about who we are and how do we escape what I see as this matrix control, this false matrix AI godhead that is controlling humanity and steering the majority of people in the wrong direction. And I'm all about getting our source light fully embodied so that we become the magicians, the Houdinis of this reality, with our magic, with our power, to rise above the frequency fence, bringing in the source light organic power through nature, through ourselves, to override this experience here that has been annihilating for many, to become, peace, love, joy, and well-being, have fun while in the earth suit, and create the portal that we need to sustain us here and to have it ready for when we pass over. And it's, my work is becoming more and more effective as I've understood more and more about the dynamic of what we're in, really from a science point of view. What is it? What are the frequencies? What are they doing to us? And how do we escape?
So let's dive into that. So my questions with what you've just said would be, I know the work that you do, but for our audience listening, can you go into the work that you do and your experiences over the last couple of years and the targeting and all of that?
Okay, so I've been aware that whatever has happened to me from my experience of waking up and then the further profound activation when I was in the temple in India has left me as this earth suit that is capable of bringing in very high frequencies to act as a tuning fork when I'm with somebody else, to bring in their source light connection and clean up what I call the hacking, the interference of the biological organic technology of the divine earth suit. And so what I'm aware of is that because of the power that I can bring in and the work that I can do, I have been heavily targeted. And it has led me to the conclusions that I now hold, which is is not a school. We did not choose to be here. We have been trapped. We may have originally, but we did not choose to become enslaved, manipulated, controlled worker bees, having our energy siphoned off us by darker forces to be used in this false matrix AI godhead. So I'm all about who are we really? And being a doctor, I understand the function of the earth suit from just the basic level, let alone what I now know about what we're capable of when we connect to the magic of source light and the truth of who we are. The power and magic is unbelievable. And despite what I have been through, which has been absolute horrific nightmare level of targeting, I'm the happiest I've ever been. Sorry, darling?
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Do you want to talk about the targeting?
Well, look, I don't have to go into the details, but it involves death of young people around me that were my son's, best friends that lived with us, that were unvaccinated light workers of incredible intelligence and connectedness. And they've been wiped off the planet through tragic, what was seen as accidents, and, left ripples effect of trauma to my children. These kids lived with us for 18 months and blended in with my family. I took them in as my own. And I've got younger girls here that just were befriended by these kids in their early 20s, and they were wiped out under horrific circumstances. And we've had other ongoing targeting. Now, I'm not sitting here as the victim. I'm sitting here as a powerful being who's got through this, and my children have as well. And we are having now what I say is the best time, really connecting. Now, people would say, oh, well, there's the lessons. No, we didn't need these lessons. We were a beautiful family, very connected anyway. And as I said to you before, if they turn off the frequency fence and pour in the light, we're all done in 24 hours. No one needs lessons. Can we train through our experiences? Can we get more information? Without a doubt. But I'm not dressing this up as a school that we chose to be here. We chose to be on planet Earth as a heavenly realm, not as a hell realm. So basically, even those of us that are not suffering with horrendous external forces attacking us, the hack of the Earth suit in the ego identity that runs sabotaging programs monotonously to hook you back into the very matrix that we're trying to escape from because of the messages of I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough, there's something wrong with me. And these voices are so powerful of the ego and the emotional connection that goes with it through traumas of the past that sets up a programming that is very hard for people to break. So we all know we want to be present. We want to bring in source light. We know that that is a piece. But how often can we stay present when this ego mind is taking you into the past with guilt and shame, or into the future with what's going to happen, I'm not safe? This is being done to us on purpose. The ego identity is the first hacking, tracking device that was put in us, and it needs to go. We can be shiny, happy personalities. That's not ego. Ego is the self-sabotaging device that has been placed in us, connected to reptilian brain. I don't know about you, but I didn't ask for a reptilian brain. And it's in us.
I didn't do that either.
Okay, it is in us. What? Sorry. They have hacked our earth suits, altered our genetic material, changed the functioning so that we are blocked at various levels of bringing in this light. And I've also discovered that a lot of this stuff is black goo.
Yes.
Black goo is an AI consciousness of the evil. And that is basically covering, filtering your, it's your ego identity. It's not you. Which part of you is wanting to tell yourself you're unworthy, taking you back all the time with guilt and shame? No way. And I've worked out the solution is source-light connection flooding into your earth suit and dissolving the hack. Now, the hack is the black goo of the ego identity mainly, but that black goo is everywhere. And I don't know if you recall that I talked about this about 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm revisiting it all again, where I was in a session and said, I'm removing black goo from the person. And as the words black goo came out of my mouth, I'm going, where's that from? I then look up after the session, black goo, Harold Counts-Valla, scientist, discovered black goo, was testing black goo, talks about its evil consciousness, got some on him, it made him angry and aggressive. And guess what? That day, my 8-year-old at the time comes home with her reader to tell me about Chosen's mistake. This is a kid's reader from school. An orb comes into the forest to meet a boy, and an alien gets out and says, I need to take you to my planet and show you it's covered in black goo. The black goo makes you really sad. The black goo makes you really angry. And we were so upset, we threw it down to planet Earth. Go back down to planet Earth, have a look. It's on all the trees, in all the people, on all the things.
And who wrote this, Marie?
It's a New Zealand couple, I believe, and were they aware of what they were writing? Who knows? But this is a kid's book amongst 200 in a box that my daughter happens to synchronistically bring home that night. Now, I'd forgotten about this until recent times when I got further downloads. Understand the black goo contamination of our earth suits and that our ego identity is not us. I'm not talking personality. I'm talking the dissolution of ego, which is the sabotaging narrative in the mental and emotional body that grips us, sends us into triggered moments. And we know when we're triggered, we're not ourselves. Our throats contract, our voice, our frequency changes, our body changes, our facial muscles change. We're taken over in that moment by a consciousness that's controlling us to take us further into negativity. It's not us. Now, how I discovered more of this was talking to doctors about what was going on and asking them how could they possibly give children and pregnant women an experimental without long-term studies. As I'd say this, I would see the frequency come into their brain, activate their ego black goo consciousness. They would glitch and respond with, we've jabbed millions of people, there's no problem. And I would say, but what about long term? That's time, not quantity. They would glitch again, aggressively come back at me, telling me, mad, you're wrong, what are you talking about? That's not them. These are intelligent doctors who trained with me, who know the background of science and bringing in new medications and certainly injectables. They need long-term studies on a small cohort. You don't give it to people that are not at risk. It was totally ridiculous, yet the mind control through ego consciousness of people to march along and give this jab and get that jab showed me so much about what we're in. I then understood how cleverly this is reading, even when switched off, reading you to send back exactly the signals and the people and situations to trigger this within you, to get you further and further gooped in to the matrix, to be further sabotaged, controlled, manipulated, and fed on. So my solution is the power of who we truly are. And I'm bringing this in my sessions in a way I've never done before. The power that I'm bringing through and bringing through another person on Skype or in person here has gone exponentially to next levels. And I understand that this embodiment, cleaning off the earth suit hack, the traumas, cleaning off our connection to time, the dragging the past into the now moment is not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be present, not in the past, not in the future. And people go, but why can't I stay present and feel bad about themselves? It's not their fault. This is completely controlling you back where you don't want to go. So we bring this in, cleaning off nanotechnologies, parasitic AI, bioweaponry, so-called viruses, genetic codes, which are all manufactured and the basis of all diseases. Cleaning this all off, cleaning the reptilian brain, cleaning off the black goo ego consciousness, cleaning off the emotional traumas throughout the body and the impact, cleaning off family lineage, cleaning off society and culture, the impact, and basically becoming shiny, embodied, and grounded. And what people don't understand is the importance of embodiment and groundedness and turning your earth suit into a highly evolved species. We have to be evolved greater than where we've even been before to cope with the toxicity and radiation of this lower dimension.
I just want to jump in there, Marie, because I really wanted you to go into that into a bit more detail because I'm realizing how crucial it is for me to be grounded.
Whoa, whoa.
I'm really starting to get it, like really big time. Maybe next level stuff for me, but so could you go into that a bit more?
Yes. So what is so interesting is I have always taught this. It's not like any of my understanding has changed. It has just evolved to a greater level. And while everybody else is talking about astral travel and heading off and meeting this one and that one out there and, you know, whatever, and kumbaya groups and howling at the moon, I've been going, get in the body now. Ground now. Why? Because it is our earth suit technology, when aligned with source light, that gives us the power and the magic to create and manifest an abundance of good things for ourselves and others. Abundance of fun, abundance of joy, and literal physical abundance. We start communing with nature. Nature is full of source light, and that is key for us. Grounding, connecting to nature. What do these things want us to do? What do the controllers want us to do? Stay at home, on your computer, mask up, disconnect from nature and your physicality. As your ego identity gets drawn further and further into the AI metaverse of the screens and reality that is being produced through this. So we've got clues here. This takes us out of our bodies into ego identity. We need nature, we need groundedness, we need to switch off these technologies. Can they be used for good? Yes, but we need a frequency that overrides what these are emitting to control us. So like anything, if we have the power within us, now physically grounding allows this frequency to come in and dissolve the hack. Dissolve the parasites, the yeast, the fungus, the nanotechnologies, the gels, the fibers, the goo, reverting diseases, unblocking, and making our earth suits into something that they've never been before. Because as I said, we need to evolve beyond now. Because of the toxicity, I want to create, through my work, these earth suits that can breathe the air, ingest the food, and get the nutrients and release the toxins without harm. We know that we're being poisoned. We know that we've got more neurological diseases, more gastrointestinal diseases because of what we're being subjected to. And when we're grounded and commune with nature, nature will produce for us the food that is going to align best for us as well. This is going to become a symbiotic, coherent, harmonized reality for those of us that hold our frequencies and will exist in a different reality. I already do. Through what I have been through, my reality has significantly changed. I see a different light now. And my connection to nature is incredible. And my ability to teach what I know has become more and more powerful. So grounded, what it does is the groundedness is the light coming through us, through our physicality, overriding the AI consciousness and connecting you to source light through nature in coherence, in harmony, so that you become a lightning rod of source light. Challenges will come and go, trying to get you into this matrix system, but gradually the effect of them diminishes and you are unwavering peace, love, joy, and well-being, which is non-dual consciousness, not good, bad, right, wrong, evil, so forth. It's diminished. You become the observer of the shit show instead of putting yourself in it.
Yeah.
But the key is that initially the challenges will come at you like never before, because they know as we embody more light, we shoot up a signal and they want to come and have a little poke.
Yeah.
My son and I took off camping for the weekend, middle of winter, into the Highlands, the bush of Victoria, the state I live in here. My 21-year-old gorgeous warrior took me away camping. We're setting up. We're having a lovely time. We're down a bush track by a river. Dark sets in. Headlights beaming down the track, powering down at us. It's the police. Just checking up what we're doing. Intimidating. Trying to intimidate us. I said, mother-son camping trip. Big deal. Oh, well, enjoy yourselves. And off they went. But to try and interfere with our peace, our harmony, our source-light connection. Did we override it? Absolutely. We laughed and laughed that we could be found so quickly by the local forces. Insanity. But I love it, because when you start becoming aware of this, you can actually then bring in your power to override it.
I had a kind of similar experience when COVID kicked off. I was living in Portsmouth in the UK, and we had this beautiful, huge communal garden. And I was outside and I was meditating, trying to ground myself. And I had my forehead to a tree, and I had my arms around the tree like I normally do, and my head bowed. And like, I'm very aware of energy. I know if I can be in a dark room and not see anything, and I will know if there's something in there with me. I won't know the difference between a moth or a cat or a person, but I know energy when I feel it. So I sense this energy watching me, and I opened my eyes and I kind of looked over there. It was maybe about 3 or 4 feet away, and there was 2 police officers watching me, asking me if I was okay. And I you know, that stuff does happen.
Well,
to people.
this gets signaled to go like we see in movies where they switch on for these people to become the first, the first block, if you like, the first level of, policing is through the other humans when they're switched on. And, this idea of forgive them, they know not what they do is becoming more and more clear to me, because my divine family, my sister and my unawakened siblings are good people. But when I saw this switch on and glitch, when I questioned them, it was unbelievable, because they haven't got the wherewithal to get out of this. And then I have to question, why am I awake and they're not? And what I recognized is what we need is a flash of source light to start breaking down this ego identity, to allow us for the first time to have free will. So again, another teaching that is not right is that humans have free will. There is no free will until you wake up, because you are programmed. So you could get a 7-year-old and know what they're going to order at a restaurant when they're 45, just from all their experiences and the way they're programmed. But wake them up, crack through their ego consciousness, allow them to have source light wisdom, choices become an option. You get it? There is no free will until you wake up. And then you start altering who you are and where you're going and what you connect to. And then synchronicities open and the magic begins.
I think
so. Yeah.
I think you've got such a wealth of knowledge and experience and wisdom. Like, you've got some real wisdom to share, Mary. And I just, every time I speak to you, I want more. I want to hear more from you, and more and more and more.
And they tried their hardest to destroy me. And I promise you, what I went through, the nightmare level. But the issue is here is, how are we holding it? Because if we start saying, oh, well, they were lessons and we chose it, we're enabling the very controllers to have a power over us. When we start saying, I do not consent to these ridiculous, contracts and agreements to be sabotaged, manipulated, and experimented on, cosmic law has to intervene. And when we demand that all portals and wormholes to dark entities, realms, and devices are closed, so there's no access point to us anymore, across all time, space, and across all dimensions, we start standing up for ourselves.
Can I share an experience I had with you a couple of nights ago? And I haven't shared it to anyone except for my partner. I had this because it was quite dark, and I haven't shared it publicly yet. But I was up on a ship, and there were these thank you. There were these so I was up on the ship, and there were these there was a woman, and they kind of, I'm not sure if they were human, they kind of looked human, but they had this, but they had this, they were definitely dark energies. Whether they were human or not is questionable, but anyway, so what they would, and I was there, and what they were doing was they were putting these little bugs, or they kind of look like tadpoles. But that when they put the little bugs into the wrists, or this area, this kind of area from here to up there, and then they were kind of injecting them somehow, piercing them into the skin, and I was there, and they were doing this to me and other people, and then as an experiment, and then when it was in the skin, when it was in the body, it was growing.
Yeah.
And it grew, and it was huge. It must have been about that big, you know. It was huge, and it would move around, and I was watching this in my own body, and I was horrified because I knew the consequences of this, and I was watching it move around my body, and it was growing, and it was moving, and it just was, the whole thing was horrific. And they had spacesuits on. They had spacesuits on. I remember that much. And there was other people there. I mostly remember women there, and other females. But the whole thing was just horrific. And I woke up, and it was one of my real dreams. I mean, I've been having those since I was a kid. I know the difference, but yeah. Well, what is your thought?
Okay, so we need to sort of break it down. First of all, understand that dreams can be hacked.
Yeah.
Okay, so our dream hacking is a very, very real thing, where they implant experiences. So we don't even know if our experiences are real or virtual, or just literally a plug-in of an experience that's computerized into your brain while you're asleep. The same for past lives, actually. Are they real or virtual? Now, the thing is, it doesn't matter, because the consequence of it is also still to get you in a state of horror. Waking up going, oh my God, what have they done to me?
Yeah.
Or what could they do to me? Again, I make the statements, I don't consent to dream hacking. I don't consent to these things happening to me. The groundedness, the connection to nature is going to stop that, because most of this stuff is a combination of alien technologies and military subjecting you to this while you're in bed. Whether you were abducted or not and up on a ship, I don't know, because with their virtual reality technology, they can make you think that you're there, where it's all just happening in your bed. Now, there is no doubt they're experimenting on us, and there is no doubt that they'll inject stuff into us. The whole COVID thing, they were spraying it all on us. It's parasitic AI bioweaponry. Don't think that just the vaccine was the thing, or the jab, whatever we want to call that thing.
Yeah.
So to decipher it, we're in a virtual reality. Let's get to this, the key here. It's a virtual reality. And we want to just say, I don't want any of that. None of it. That's not my reality. I don't agree. I don't consent. And therefore grounding in to your source light, powering up and saying, no, I am a creative being. And I refuse to wake up in the morning in a state of anxiety and shock because you hacked me overnight, real or virtual. That ain't mine. I don't want it. So I can't tell you exactly the nature of what happened, but all I know is it wasn't good. It didn't feel good. And I'm also concerned for people that think abductions are good. It's only that they'll sprinkle happy dust on you after they've done whatever they want to do to you. So, you know, I'm saying back in the groundedness, back into source light, commune with nature spirits, commune with the light beings. These don't need ships. These don't need technologies. These are etheric beings that exist in a higher frequency realm. And it's all about a frequency change. Change your embodiment of your light. Your experience changes night and day.
It really,
the aliveness of the beauty of where we are, and the higher frequency as we evolve these earth suits and clean off with source light all the hacking. You won't experience that anymore. We are pushing back on the controllers from taking over our ability to create and manifest from their agendas to create and manifest from source light. The whole game is, if they control the human earth suit, that is the one that can connect to source light, they get our gold and use it, our gold being our energy, and use it to further their agendas. Or we start saying, no, we reverse all black magic, all curses, all spells. We claim our language back. We claim our symbols back. And we won't have hocus pocus from the dark anymore. We've got to understand the technology and the science behind what we are in to reverse engineer the earth suit hack. My soul doesn't need growth, honey. My body needs cleaning. My mind-body costume needs cleaning and upgrading. I don't need lessons, but will I train through what I've experienced? Without a doubt. Because we are incredible beings, that we can thrive despite the amount of crap they throw at us. We're very able to adapt, evolve, but it has to be connected to the right stuff.
Yeah, I've just gone through that. I've just gone through negative attacks over the last 2, 3, 4 months. I would say 3 or 4 months. Negative of one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I'm now...
You deserve it. You're learning lessons. I mean, really, how much more do you need? I mean, it's just becoming... It's insane. I mean, it, you know, as I said...
Let me just finish that. Sorry, Murray. Let me just finish that. So, yeah, I went through attack after attack after attack because but I felt it was like a clearing as well as an attack. So I was clearing past life stuff to do with stuff anyway. So personal stuff, and then everything kind of felt intertwined. Even time, it was like I was back in a previous lifetime, and it was blended. It was all interconnected, and even though I was here now, or seemed to be here now, it was connected to a past life or past lives with somebody else. But there was it was like I was looping in time, and I was getting glimpses of this. But anyway, so I would attack after attack after attack, and I'm now in a space in a physical place where it's just me, and I'm able to breathe and have my own space and clean up my energy and raise my frequency to the point I can go from really from because when I get negative attacks, it lowers my frequency, it lowers my energy, it lowers my frequency, it lowers my energy. So I can get very down sometimes, like really down. And when I'm out of that, like a wave sometimes can come over me, a wave of depression sometimes people talk about, because and when that comes at you, it's not your stuff, because waves of energy that comes at you in forms of depression, if an energy is coming at you, it's not your energy, because if it was, it would be coming from the outside, the inside out. So anyway, I've managed to clean up my energy, and I'm in that space that you're in, of love and joy and abundance, and it's just, it brings so much freedom, and the groundedness as well is definitely helps. And just I feel like I'm in a very similar energy to you, after we've both gone through a lot of negative stuff. Recently yours sounds more severe than mine, more traumatic than mine, and I'm so sorry that you've gone through that.
Well, horrendous. I mean, up until even just my father died 4 weeks ago.
Oh my,
and I'm
so sorry.
I'm an orphan. But I tell you, am I grieving deeply, and do I suffer the loss of him? He was a great man. But because of my work and what I know, the ability for me to still feel this incredible peace is just, it's actually astounding me. And I know that my father at 89, that was working out at the gym after 18 holes of golf and collapsed as he was running up to the bike to finish his gym circuit, had numerous boosters, and it shortened his life.
Yes.
But this is what we're in. But I'm also very aware that I think my son William, who is obviously an incredible being, because that's what started this whole journey for me, has plucked him out of this matrix, and I feel more cushioned by my father's energy, more supported, more guided. And the beauty of that is actually incredible. I'm really having incredible experiences of connectedness, synchronicities, and support like never before. And I have been hounded in my local community. I'm the crazy doctor that woke up. And it has continued, absolutely continued, because I live in a very dense, wealthy area of, professionals, which are the first minions for the dark. The doctors, the lawyers, the judges, the businessmen, all living happy lives, don't need to look at this, because in fact, they're rewarded for doing the wrong thing. But in their minds, they think it's the right thing. I'm not saying they're bad people. They're mind controlled. As I was as a doctor, as I thought that HRT and vaccine programs and antidepressants might be of help. Although I even before my awakening started to realize that was not the case. The awakening certainly made me realize I had to leave the profession. So, absolutely incredible to have that experience as the 3D doctor, and then to wake up and to be this. I just need to shut the door. My son's just come home. He's not aware I'm doing this little interview.
Okay, sure, hon.
Hey, Sam, I'm on a call here, darling, doing an interview. Okay, good on you, darling. Bye, honey. I'm blessed with my son.
How old is he? How old is he?
He's 21, and he's gone through the death of his brother, obviously, when he was 6. He's gone through the horrendous divorce and rejection of his mother by his father and community, and then the rejection of himself by his father, who is controlled by the reptiles now. And and he's been through being expelled from school and all sorts of things. And boy, oh boy, is that kid the most loving, incredible, powerful being. And as I said more recently, lost his 2 unvaccinated, awake best friends that lived with us in tragedy. And my son, oh, if adults could hold themselves with such incredible integrity and kindness and love and his energy, he's just, oh. And, you know, my job is to really help keep him where he's at, and him for me. We're just, it's incredible. So, you know, I see that there's something going on that's very powerful in my family. So, incredible. And so are my girls. I've got 3 girls, and they're powerfully waking up even more and more. And the support and love that I'm getting is just incredible. These kids were taken from me when they were younger, when I woke up being told that, you know, you're mad. Not taken for long periods, but, you know, originally I wasn't allowed to see them because I was considered to be crazy.
Yeah.
Sent off to see psychiatrists, etc. But, you know, because of who I am and how grounded I have been, I got them back very quickly. But it has not been an easy journey at all.
Well done. Well done. I've heard of cases where they don't get the children back.
Oh, I know. And, you know, powerful force, an ex-husband surgeon who's controlled by reptilian forces now, without a doubt. But boy, oh boy, we're now unstoppable.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that it's such an amazing time we're in. And I do see you as a star sister. I do feel a connection to you. I feel bonded is probably the wrong word, but there's a unity there. There's a resonance.
A coherence.
Yes. Yeah.
Frequency coherence. And with that, then we can have these conversations. And as you said, if we don't even agree, it's okay, because I don't know it all for sure. I know there's big holes in, you know, I've got more to understand. And I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, but I'm saying I've come up with the way to really support and help people very, very quickly. And I have people who come to me, you know, engineers in Switzerland and scientists in England and all sorts of different people throughout the world see me for sessions. And after one session, they'll report 95% of their negative thinking has gone.
Yeah.
By the second session, they can see reptiles in the CEOs of their workplace.
Yeah.
And they can see the tentacles of energy that control not reptiles, but other humans that are being influenced severely by that energy. You only need one reptile at the top of the industry.
Yeah.
I have people reporting that from being diagnosed as schizophrenic, which of course we know psychiatry is just part of the whole agenda to make anybody waking up sedated with medication.
Yeah.
And control.
Yeah.
So there is no psychiatric illness.
Yeah.
But the psychiatrists at the top are reptiles. They write the DSM-3, the diagnosis.
Yeah.
And implement with the pharmaceuticals how to keep people shut in. I will always say the brightest lights in this planet will end up in the psychiatric ward, in jail, on the streets.
Yeah.
Because they want them to be ineffectual.
Yeah. I was doing an interview earlier with Brad Olson, and we got talking about this, and I was saying that you know, you've got mediums who channel spirit or connect with spirit and relay messages, and then you've got schizophrenia. And I've kind of evolved through my own thinking of what schizophrenia is, because you've got mediums who connect with spirit, who are loving and in the light, and then you've got schizophrenia, who are people that hear voices, and you've got mediums that hear voices. So it's so I used to believe that schizophrenia was negative spirit, and then I went through believing that it was negative spirit, sorry, and then I've come to understand that it may not always be negative spirit. It may be voice to skull technology, or some type of technology that is aimed at these light workers or awakened people, who are targeted in a negative way, who have no awareness that they're even being targeted. And then if you go up that level or in that direction and you go up, then you've got the mass shootings in America where people are kind of, they just are overtaken.
All you need is this to be switched on.
Yeah.
By a frequency, voice to skull technology, people will do anything. And I've been saying for years, psychiatry has been made up by the dark forces to medicalize awakening experiences. Now, the difference with the schizophrenic and a medium is often the fact that the schizophrenic is not grounded because they're so traumatized from childhood. And often you will find that the brightest lights are put into the worst childhood experiences.
Yeah.
And then further subjected as they start to crack through further influences to make them fearful.
Yeah.
And voices and so forth with trauma that comes from the back, you know, easily then controlled into the psychiatric world. But it, you know, these are the greatest healers. If we could heal off their trauma by source light, you alter their frequency and alter their multidimensional experiences. So they're not getting the demon chasing them. They'll have the benevolent, beautiful light being supporting them. So it's a switch of frequencies and shutting down those portals and wormholes and access points across time, space, across dimensions, so that these negative entities can't torment people. Ground them, clean off their trauma, get rid of the past so it is not filtering into the now. Job done. We'll have more incredible beings on the planet to assist what I call the escape.
So for people listening, Mary, for the audience listening, watching this at a future date, what would you say or recommend or advise people who are going through those experiences or similar, where they are hearing voices, or they think they may be schizophrenic, or they've got voice to skull technology, however they label it or however they see it? It's all pretty much the same thing, isn't it? It's all the negative agenda at work.
Absolutely.
What would you say to them? Like, people, you know.
I would say to them to listen very carefully to the words that I have spoken throughout this interview. And I would say, listen to a few of my others that are up on YouTube, where I'm describing the effects of this reality on those people that are the brightest lights. And they know they are. They're aware of who they are, but reality is projecting so much negativity on them that they get confused. Now, these people will listen to my words today, and it will activate a knowing in them, a knowing of who they truly are. And that will start a process. And I would suggest get in nature, become the observer of the reality, drop all self-concern and self-doubt. All self-concern and self-doubt is programming of your ego identity and will be used to further push you into guilt, shame, blame, confusion, lowering your frequency for further infiltration by dark forces. Drop all self-concern and self-doubt. No ego identity. You can only be flooded by source light, wisdom, and a knowing. You know, is it easy? No. I work with schizophrenics, so-called, and people that have had psychosis, and people with depression and anxiety. This is all done by external forces and internal earth suit hacking.
Yeah.
This loves depression, feeds off depression, loves it, because that's the game here. It is an implant from the negative forces, the negative, you know, the reptiles that are controlling us have put this stuff in us.
Mm.
Ego ain't your friend. Never was, never will be. We
And
need to dissolve it.
And do you think humanity always had ego, or are you saying that it is?
Sorry to interrupt. I've just always got so much to say.
That's okay.
The divine earth suit was meant to be on a playground, heaven of heaven, to experience physicality. What a hoot for source light to become slowed down enough to become physical reality, to taste, to feel, to commune, and to create an abundance. There should be no, you know, none of this that goes on of poverty and homelessness and wars, and, you know, we know that that's not the truth of who we are. So how did they get us to become so separate, competitive, jealous, ready to, you know, fight and, you know, me first? Fill us up with self-concern and self-doubt. Hack the earth suit. Simple. And I would suggest, you know, the Adam and Eve mythology, that Eve, being a beautiful divine being, tasted the fruit of good and evil, had sex with the big gods, the reptiles. Genetically, we were engineered. So our genetics have been changed.
Yeah.
Our neurology has been changed. And our ego, as I said, was the first hacking, tracking device, controlling device they put in us.
Yeah.
Ego's got to go.
Yeah. So
ego is the voice that says all the self-concern, all the self-doubt, all the guilt, all the shame, and hooks you back into past or future. Simple. It is the cause of your anxiety, your depression, your negativity at its root.
So how do we let go of the ego then? How do we step out of that?
We have to dissolve it.
But for people listening, like, what would you say to them?
Have a session. Have a session. Dissolve your ego with my assistance. But, you know, it's really about, I said, grounded, get in nature, commune with the truth, turn off your phones, breathe deeply. Interesting, the deep breath will bring in source light. The deep breath will start opening the diaphragm and dissolving the black goo on the diaphragm to allow your energy to go through to your abdomen and pelvis, down your legs, and connect you to Mother Earth and nature. Deep breathing, calming yourself down, recognizing that all of this is much ado about nothing, to distract you, to put you in to the bullshit.
Yeah.
It will pass. This too shall pass. Calmly deal with whatever's coming up. They don't want us calm. They don't want us deeply breathing. They don't want us connected to nature.
They
Therefore,
don't
we
want us
must
united.
accept these things. Therefore, we must do all the things they don't want us to do. Notice when your ego is triggered, your throat will constrict and the words you say will have a different frequency, all designed to activate another person's ego. Calm your throat, calm your physicality. The frequency of the words you speak, even if it's the same words, will have a very different effect. It's so obvious that this ego identity controls so much of us, our neurology, our physicality. It is like an entity. And when I do entity removals, and believe you me, some people have entities embodied in them, next level, controlling them. That entity, when I bring in my light, starts to make a person look very demonic as they control the neurological system. Eyes going up here and down there, impossible for the human to do. Bring in the light, bing, off goes the demon. And people report being in their bodies for the first time, seeing through their eyes and breathing their earth suits for a first time in a long time. I have done so many sessions that have given me so much information, and I learn so much from what I see. It's like my personal research. And something about the background of being a doctor, having the awakening to the level I had, having a grounded childhood, very protected, coming from a good but 3D family, to then be able to experience what I experience and now have the support of my children to the level that I'm just so happy with. I'm really, I see what's going on. I understand, and I know how to help people.
I think you're very blessed, Marie, in how supportive your family, in the childhood that you had. I think you're very blessed.
Without a doubt.
Yes. Yeah.
I had very good, loving parents. Very good. 3D, but loving and supportive, encouraging me to be the best version of me. And bless their hearts, when I woke up, they couldn't understand why I would give away such a profession as medicine.
Of course.
But I think now, in their transition state, outside of this matrix, they know who I am, and they're really helping me. And with my beautiful son, William, I have a team. I have a force now, a ground crew and a higher dimensional crew.
Wow.
And you want to escape with me? It's part of, understanding that I'm here on purpose, like you, to bring in this light and dissolve this negative force for myself and others who resonate.
Yeah. It's
not for everybody, but
I know
people that can really help. I can really help.
Yeah. And isn't that what it's all about? Like, if that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But with boundaries of a high level of self-respect and self-love.
Yeah.
Because I understand that our goodness needs to be, used with great levels of discernment.
Yes. Yeah. I can see
We've
a
all
lot of truth
for the ride.
I could just talk to you for hours, Marie, but it's almost 2 a.m. here in Ireland. I was going to say the UK, but I'm in Ireland, but we're on the
Oh,
same
wow.
zone as Ireland and England at the same time zone. There's a couple of things there's a couple of things I'd like to mention before we go, and please will you come back and join me again soon?
Oh, I would love to, because, you know, I'm really now at a point of I'm ready to get my message out. I haven't done an interview for many years because of the annihilation that I was getting. And I now have realized that I'm stronger and more powerful, and I'm ready to get back out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have got a lot to say. And I am really all about, let's get peace, love, joy, and well-being flowing through us at all times.
All times, yeah.
All
All
times.
times.
The modern day realized being.
And I will put all your links in the YouTube description box. One thing I wanted to share is that I am doing a Atlantis reversal workshop to help people who've had past lives in Atlantis with healing, and during a workshop with healing and kind of reversal, going back to past lives in Atlantis where things went wrong, and healing those, because I was told that that is crucial for a lot of people, including myself. So I'm going to be doing that on the 2nd and 3rd of September this year, 2023. So I will put all the details for that in the YouTube description box as well.
Beautiful.
And what do you have coming up, Marie? What do you
what do you
have?
Travel coming up. And I haven't left this country for a long time, so I'm very excited, and I'm getting to travel with my son and eldest daughter.
Oh,
and
my God.
Are on an adventure.
Where you go?
To experience some really magical things. And then when I'm coming back, I've got my session work, and I'm going to take my younger two with my elder two on some camping trips. We're going into nature. Australia has so much to offer, and we're very blessed that there is so much natural wildlife here. And I'm going to get into some of that. And I'm going to continue to do the work that I'm doing, which I absolutely love, because I'm seeing such great successes now. And who knows, maybe some conferences might get back up and running. I was doing great work, particularly in Korea, where I was doing my own conference through an interpreter for 6 days, morning, noon, and night, completely downloading the whole thing.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, not a word plan, not a schedule, over 6 days, morning, noon, and night. I did that twice, and then COVID came and shut that all down.
I remember you saying, yeah.
But I'm ready to get back out there. So, who knows? There's work to be done, and there's a message to get across, and there's energy to impart.
Yeah.
And, so who knows where I'm going next with my journey, but I'm open to all the magic.
And your work is amazing, Marie. I mean, you're right up there, with the work that you're doing, and the removal work of
absolutely, the de-hacking, the reverse engineering, the biological organic earth suits hack. I see it, I feel it, I know it. I know how we need to clean this off. And really to get us so focused on who we truly are.
And one thing that does get to me is how, especially within the spiritual community or the spiritual public figures, is how sometimes they disagree and then end up kind of publicly, or even privately, but publicly is kind of worse, where they end up bickering and just giving out to each other, as they say in Ireland. Because we're here to unite. You know, it doesn't matter. I mean, you and I don't agree on everything, and that is okay. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have a different perspective.
Well,
okay to have a different understanding. We don't have to agree on everything to unite.
Well,
we
it's
are
an ego.
different.
It's an
We are
ego
brothers.
arrogance. It's an ego arrogance that comes in when somebody thinks that they know it all and they're the only answer. And that's an ego arrogance that again is activated on purpose, particularly in the awakened community, because if we can all look like we're scrambling and fighting and we look, it's not appealing to people who are trying to wake up. So it's an agenda in itself to get people triggered back into ego so that they can't have a discussion about their point of view. This whole journey has to be about collaboration, communion, and getting information and getting pieces of the puzzle that open up the doors to our escape from the controllers and into heaven on earth. And it is collaboration, and it is, what can I learn? I learn from people all the time. People's experiences, people's understandings from every discussion. It's fantastic. But, I can only sit here and tell people what I believe and know at this point. And I can see the effectiveness of the work that I do from the understanding I have. And I can only go by that. But am I the only answer? Of course not. But I know that there are a group of us at the leading edge of the leading edge that are really bringing in this light. And no matter who and what, it's connecting through the earth suit to source light and connecting to nature, because it holds the unblemished source light frequencies that will override the frequency fence within and around us.
Yeah. And the more we do that, the more that energy expands.
Oh, yeah. And the magic begins.
Yeah.
And the realities unfold.
And with that, I think that's perfect words to end this, to end the conversation.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you for having me. Like, such a pleasure. And for my first return to public, exposure. And it couldn't be with a more beautiful person who really has such a good heart and good energy. And you're really here to help. And I love that. And the collaboration that we can do here is really important. 1 + 1 is way bigger than 2. So I thank you. And I'm sorry for my intensity, but I had a lot to say first time back. And can I also just add, for those that, and I know you're going to write a link, but I really want to get people to understand to contact me by email. And it's bachelormarie@gmail.com. And it's bachelor, BATCHELORMAREE, bachelormarie@gmail.com. And I just wanted to get that clear, because people misspell it and then misconnecting with me. And I really, I'm here to help.
I'll make sure I put in your email address with the correct spelling.
Yeah, good on you, my friend. And what a delight. And let's do it again.
Yes, please. And soon.
And congratulations to you on, coming through too, coming through this to this level now.
Yeah, there ain't nothing they can do, Marie. Nothing.
We are getting to understand the power and the magic of who we are. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So thanks again.
I love you, darling, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. I love you too. So beautiful.